Now we're going to talk about a very useful tool in dealing with problems that involve multiple cash flows. Some of the problems seem quite complex, but actually if you can use a timeline, it really simplifies things and things aren't as complex as they appear. Here is a timeline. Up here we're going to put the periods. This is period 0, that's today, right now. This is the end of the first period. This is the end of the second period, the end of the third period. And down here, we're going to put the cash flows that take place at those periods. All right, so let's suppose you have an investment opportunity that will pay you $100 at the end of period 1, $200 at the end of period 2, and $300 at the end of period 3. And let's suppose you have other investment opportunities that are of similar risk that will pay you 10%. And so you need, for this investment, to pay you 10% return as well. So we're going to put 10% here. That's our required rate of return. So this investment needs to be priced such that when you receive these cash flows that you will indeed receive a 10% rate of return. So what's the most you'll pay for this investment? Well, all we need to do is figure out the present value of each one of these cash flows and then add them up. Now we can't just add across time. We can't do that because the money is worth different amounts at different time periods. That's why they call it the time value of money. So we'll have to do it one at a time. So what is $100 received at the end of period 1 worth today? Another way to say that is what's the present value of $100 received in one period from now? Or another way to say it is how much would you need to invest today to get $100 at the end of period 1? Okay, so the present value of $100 in one period, well, we just pop them in our calculator. The $100 is the future value. 1 is n, takes place one period from now. I is 10. Then we just solve for present value. Well, let's see. $100, future value. 1 is n, 10 is I. Put a 0 in there in the payment register just in case something got in there by accident. And we get 9091. Actually, we get a negative because that tells us that we'd have to give up that today to get this positive 100 coming our direction in 1 year. But I'll just ignore that. I'm just going to write down as a positive. What's the present value of $200 received 2 years from now? Or 2 periods. The periods are years. Well, how much would we have to stash away to get $200 at 10% interest in 2 years, or 2 periods? Well, let's find out. Punch in 200, future value. 2 is n. And I, it's already in there. We don't have to punch it in again. Hit present value, we get 165.29. And $300, what's the present value of $300 received 3 periods or 3 years from now? We need to discount this back 3 periods to the present. 300 is the future value. 3 is n, I is 10. Hit the present value key, 225.39. All right. So what's the most you'll pay for this investment? The most you'll pay is the sum of these the sum of these present values. Add them up. We've got $100 received in 1 year is worth $90.91 today. $200 in 2 years is worth $165.29 today. 300 in 3 years is worth $225.39 today. So the entire cash flow stream is worth the sum. Okay, we've got 90.91 plus 165.29, 225.39. And so that's $481.59. So if you pay $481.59 for this investment, and you do in fact get these cash flows at these time intervals, you've got yourself a 10% return. Okay, let's do a little different problem. Let's suppose that you invest $100 today, $200 at the end of period 1, $300 at the end of period 2. How much are you going to have in 3 years? Well, in this case, we just have to move all the cash flows out to this period. It's just a matter of moving things around, one at a time. Well, we've got $300. We're going to invest that in period 2. And it's going to grow at, let's go ahead and stay with 10%, for 1 year, right? It's going to grow for one period. So $300, what's the future value of $300 invested here? 300, put in a negative. Doesn't really matter in this case, but might as well get in the habit of paying attention to the cash flow direction. 300 is negative, present value. Okay, plug that in. I is 10. N is 1, because from this period to this period is just one period. And the future value is $330. So if you invest $300 in period 2 at 10%, in period 3, it's $330. We do the same thing with the 200. The $200 invested at period 1 is going to grow for 2 periods. So what's the future value of that? 200 is the present value. N is 2. And I is 10 still. And the future value is 242. Investing $100 today is going to grow for 1, 2, 3 periods and be worth how much? 100 is the present value. 3 is N. I is 10. Future value 133.10. So how much are you going to have? The 300 grows to 330. The 200 grows to 242. The 100 grows to 133.10. Add them up. That's how much you're going to have in your account. And I get 705.10. Okay, the timeline is a really powerful tool for setting up problems. A lot of times you'll find a problem and you'll think it's just too complicated. Draw a timeline, put it in piece by piece, and once you got the problem set up, then it's just mindless calculator. All right.